Friends, family, and keepers of the faith, welcome to another Delboy blog. And as always, we'll date stamp this. It's year 3, blog 32, or in legacy numbers, blog 136. And the date is weekend in 29th of September 2024. And we're at the end of September, beginning of October. The weather is going to get worse. The nights are drawing in. But I remain chipper. We all should remain chipper. We're alive. We're doing everything we can for our family and friends. We're enjoying life, watching films, playing games, whatever it is that brings a big smile to your face. And that's the sort of thing that I've been trying to say to myself all this week, and it's not been a great week. But before we get into all of that, we'll get the news out the way. You know, the news is just something to date stamp. You can skip this part because it's always depressing. There's never really any good news in it. And we start off with the war, which still goes on in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. This article caught my attention. Zelensky condemns Russian attacks on Sumy Hospital, that's an area in Ukraine, and updates the death toll. 8 people have been killed in Russian strikes, with 11 more injured, and 113 have been evacuated. Zelensky stated, "Everyone in the world should pay attention to what Russia is targeting. Only strength can force Russia into peace." So we know sort of like Zelensky's opinion on it. I just wish for peace. I don't know whether strength is the only way. It looks very much probably like it at the moment. But that was the news that was going on in Ukraine for the last couple of days. Obviously, a lot more's happened during the week, but that was the news article that caught my attention. So in the UK, we move to the UK now, and all sort of like doom and gloom again. Keir Starmer hits a new low in personal popularity ratings. Well, what do you expect with a cut in the fuel, the fuel additive that we were going to give to the pensioners to get through the winter. So, yeah, I mean, what do you expect, Keir Starmer? He did say, though, that there are worse times ahead before things get better. Hardly does that ease us with everything that's going on with price hikes and everything. So, yeah, another doom and gloom. The next one is major floods cause havoc as 1 month of rainfall occurs in one day. Yes, on Monday, torrential rain. I'll tell you about my Monday later on, but I got soaked. But yeah, 1 month of rain, lots of sodden ground, more rain occurred, hundreds of thousands of pounds of damage to homes and businesses. And here we are with all the technology that can basically firm up all of the canals, rivers, etc., etc. And how long has it been since we've learned about drainage? Good God. So another bad one. A boy of 8 dies after being shot in the face in Cumbria. Very sad story. I was reading the article, but the basically headline tells it all, really. A boy of 8. Jesus Christ. And then a little bit for the future. UK's busiest stations are to close for 8 days around Christmas for rail works. Liverpool Street, Paddington and Crewe are all in the firing line for this rail works. All around Christmas. I mean, could you plan it any different? I mean, I know that we need work to be done on these things, but everybody wants to get home. Everybody wants to have a nice Christmas. The railways and the things that a lot of us that live in the city need to go and see their family out of the city. And what are you doing? Closing down the bloody major stations for works on the rail. You know, it's a double-edged coin. We know it needs to be done. There's never a great time for it to be done. But to be quite honest, Christmas, nah. I'd avoid that like the plague if I could. And the last story, which a lot of people will know, rest in peace, Maggie Smith, or Dame, I think it was Dame Maggie Smith, died at the age of 89 on Friday. As I've said with every death, my childhood seems to sort of like shrink every week. Anyway, some of her iconic roles, California Suite, one of my favourite films. She won an Oscar for that in the 70s. If anybody knows anything about California Suite, it's sort of like a major star fest. It's all based around things that are going on in hotel rooms on one particular day. On that day, the Oscar ceremony is going on. And like I say, Maggie Smith was one of those people that are in these hotel rooms talking about what was concerning them. Brilliant film. It's just a drama, but when I saw it, I was riveted. It's one of those ones that I've only got on DVD. I really do need to sort of like check some of my most iconic films and target those rather than keep buying 4K films that I'm doing. But of course, she's been in Harry Potter, Downton Abbey, amongst many others. One of the last films I saw her in, she was an old lady living in a van. I think they showed it on Channel 4 a couple of years ago. That was a good film. You know, they're all these drama films. You don't need to have action films, horror films, science fiction films for it to be a good film. And sometimes it's nice just to put a drama on. I tend to watch drama, you know, at night. I don't tend to watch them during the day. Weird that. It's like I watch horror films at night. That I think so, for obvious reasons. You know, it's at night, dark. Some baddie or antagonist going around with a knife, slashing people up. All of that sort of stuff is emphasised. And of course, we're heading into Halloween. So, of course, there's going to be a lot of people watching Halloween films, with probably Halloween being the top film to watch on Halloween and Hallows Eve. So that's something to look forward to if you like horror films in October. I believe there's a number of my friends that are going to be watching a horror film every day leading up to Halloween. I've never really participated in that. I just like to watch horror films on the day. Maybe a couple of days before to get myself in the mood, or from October 1st onwards, no, I don't do that. But to all my friends that are doing that, hey, I wish you good luck with keeping that up every day and having enjoyment watching those films. And there's a number of my friends that are doing that, so that's absolutely brilliant. And that's the news, sort of out the way. My week. I'm trying to remain chipper. I hope my face is showing that I'm not totally down. But it started badly, ended not brilliant. And we might as well just get it all out the way. So Monday, as we said, it was torrential rain. But I ran out of tablets on Sunday night and looked in my bag of tablets that my sister picked up for me literally the week before. And when I opened them, well, there was one set of tablets not there. It's a tablet, I think it's called gabapentin. It's for my leg after my heart operation. It's to help oxidize the blood and repair that nerve. That's one of its uses. And I had to therefore think to myself, hey, benefit of the doubt, they're probably just at the pharmacist, which is at the doctor's surgery. So even though I can't walk long distances, and it is just over half a mile away, and that's sort of like the distance I can travel since my pinched nerve, well, what I thought was a pinched nerve, when we eventually found out it's deoxygenization of the fifth sciatic nerve. But I walked down steadily and got to the pharmacist, and I explained to them the tablets are not in the bag. But they stated that my sister had signed for them, and so she must have had them. And I said, look, I've got the bag here. And I showed her the bag, and I said, look, it's not in there. And they said there's nothing that they could do. It's a controlled drug. I'd have to go to reception and look at my options on how to get this tablet today, because remember, I've run out. So I went to reception, and they couldn't help. They said, there's nothing we can do. We're reception, we're not appointments. You need to phone the number and then speak to the pharmacist. And I said, well, I'll sit over in that seat over there. My leg's hurting anyway, and see if we can get this sorted very, very soon. So I sat down and phoned the pharmacist, and they basically said that there's nothing that they could do because I'd need to speak to a doctor to re-prescribe it so that I could take it away. And I said, well, this is mental because I'm downstairs and it's only a mistake made by the pharmacist, but I understand it. I'll do that. So I put the phone down, phoned the same number again, went through the 10 options, and got to the appointments line. And they said they'd speak to the pharmacist for me because the doctor might not even be in today. So they spoke to the pharmacist, and then she came back to me and said, I need to come down and have a word and see what we can do. So she came downstairs. I don't know what she looks like, so she could have just gone straight past me. She went into the pharmacist, went back upstairs, came back down. So I did sort of like recognise her now because it's the second time in around about 20 minutes. And I thought, this person's going up and down these stairs a lot. And then she came back to me and said, are you Del Boy? You know, we'll just say Del Boy for now. And I said, yes, and I've got your tablets for you. We've given you the benefit of the doubt. Now, I could have gone ballistic at this time. Benefit of the doubt. But I didn't. I just said, thank you very much. Can you thank your team? But then I did happen to mention, because I have to mention it. It's awful. I said, I do have to say to you that I think it's a terrible system. Just to let you know, you said benefit of the doubt. At the end of the day, the pharmacist was supposed to drive these tablets to me because I can't walk. I waited 4 days. Nothing happened. So my sister kindly said she'd pick them up. Now, my sister's not going to know what she's picking up. They're new tablets. They're new tablets to me. So she's not really going to check the bag because she wouldn't really know what's in them, even though it says a disclaimer in there, check the bag before you leave. So the pharmacist have made 2 mistakes. 1, they never put them in the bag. 2, they should have driven them to me in the first place. So benefit of the doubt, really probably the wrong words to use, but I am thankful. I left it there and then walked home. Now, this is during torrential rain. I got soaked, absolutely soaked. I put on a coat that is quite a nice, it's one of those windbreaker jackets, but it's an old coat, and I haven't sprayed it in a long time with that water repellent spray that you put on your clothes, to reinvigorate the water repellent features of it. So it soaked right through me. And when I got home, we found out that we're missing some really essential stuff like milk and stuff. And so I needed to take a deep breath, put on a different coat, which was much better for the rain, to be quite honest, but I hate it because the hood flops forward and I can't see in front of my face. It hasn't got one of them drawstrings. Walked to Sainsbury's and got the essentials that we needed and walked back. This time not soaked. My leg now killed. And I'd done, obviously, the 10,000 steps that every sort of like young person should really do in a day. And I was pleased with myself. Got a lot of exercise done. But I knew I'd be suffering for the next couple of days. But that's probably a good thing. So again, I tried to remain chipper. Yeah. So Monday night, nothing really happened. Tuesday, started to sort of like get my life in order for my operation that was supposed to be on October 1st. And you've probably heard me say that word supposed, and I'll explain. So the first thing that happened was that I got a call actually from work, and it was my people manager, and he said that basically one of the contractors who is a manager is leaving, and so therefore we want to fill the position with a permanent member of staff. Mentioning it to me because I am obviously one of the analysts that should go for this role, because it's an analyst to manager position, really, even though it's being advertised outside, for people to go come into the Ministry of Justice. I told him, I said I had a heart attack, and this is a bit of a bad time. And he said to me, remain chipper. All you got to do is fill in the form. The interviews have not got a specific date yet, but they won't be until at least halfway or 3/4 of the way through October. So in my head, I thought, October 1st. I'm off for 2 weeks. That takes me to the middle of October. That means the whole heart situation is out the door. There's only physio and controlling my tablets to do. Yes, I said, I'll sign into my laptop sometime this week. I had until Friday. And I'll get that form in, even though I'm doing it by the numbers. If you remember rightly from my previous blogs, training has been a arse to me. And one of the arguments I had was with one of the analysts that had the ear of the new manager that had only been in position for 4 weeks. In fact, this manager didn't want to hear my side, and he changed everything for me, saying I couldn't speak to the other analysts and I needed to go through my task manager for any questions. And if I had, before I ask any questions, read the documentation. It was a bit harsh, I thought, and I also believe that that's one of the stresses that would have helped with my heart attack. If you think about it, a manager that says that he doesn't want to hear your side, that he's just listened to one side of the argument, that to me is poor, and it stressed me out. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I said I'll fill in the form, and basically I put the phone down and was thinking all the time, I'm doing this by the numbers, but I'll do it. I have been a manager before. Maybe that would be in my favour, where the other two have never been managers. So, there's training and then there's experience in regards to managing people, managing time, managing processes, managing procedures. As much as I'd love to know more about the software I'm using, that can always be done fast-tracked. So, I remained chipper. The next thing I did then was phone the hospital for the only telephone number I've got for the rehabilitation clinic. I wanted the number for the Oxford hospital. And I phoned up and told them the reason why I was phoning, because A, I wanted to confirm the appointment because I haven't received the letter yet. And 2, unfortunately, my brother-in-law couldn't take me on the day. And also family members, my uncle, they've got terrible flu at the moment. They wouldn't want to give that to me going into an operation, so I understand that. And of course, my mother can't drive. So I was looking at whether the ambulance service could help me or whether I needed to get a taxi. Now, I'd already phoned up the taxi firm on Monday to see how much it would cost there and back. It's 15 to 20 pounds, so I need 2 trips. So we're talking. Sorry, no. What they said was it was £30 there and back, 2 trips. That's 60 quid. And of course, when you go into an operation, you don't know when your operation is, and you don't know when you'll be leaving. So of course, as much as I can pre-arrange it, I can't actually tell them when I'm going to be leaving, but I can tell them the time I need to get there. Anyway, I'd pre-done that, but they gave me the number, and I phoned the number, and it went to answering machine. I waited about another couple of hours and I phoned up again and I spoke to this lovely lady and she said, according to our records here, your appointment is now the 5th of November. And my face just dropped. I could feel my blood pressure rising. And I said, no, it's the 1st of October. And she said, not according to this. You need to speak to a person called Simon. I'll give you his direct number. So she gave me the direct number. And of course, it went to voicemail again. Another hour goes past and I phone it up and Simon does answer. So I phoned him up and I said, look, I'm quite upset. I'm not going to have a go at you. I'm not going to raise my voice, get stern or anything like that. But I feel the rug's been pulled underneath me. I've been told that my operation is now the 5th of November when everybody knows that it's the 1st of October. Why is this? And he looked and he said, because I booked it on the 5th of November. And I said, but why did you do that? I've got a discharge letter that says that the operation is the 1st of October. When I was discharged, the surgeon came to see me and shake my hands and say, good luck and see you soon, and told me it was the 1st of October. When I went into the rehabilitation clinic in my hometown, we've booked my physio for 2 weeks after the 1st of October because on their records it said the 1st of October. And he said, the operation that I do is only done on a Tuesday. They do one a day. One of those weeks, they're not doing an operation at all. That means that there are only 3 places. There's been a heart condition for a particular person that needed the 1st of October. And I was then demoted to the 5th of November. And I said, I do understand all of these things, but when a surgeon comes up to you, the surgeon that did it and tells you it's the 1st of October, when you've got a discharge letter that says it's the 1st of October, when the rehabilitation clinic has booked my physio and it's the 1st, to be 2 weeks after the 1st of October, you're messing about with people's lives. I've not had any letter. You've never sent me anything that says that it's changed. And I was just about to book a taxi to take me on the 1st of October. What if I hadn't have phoned? What if I'd have turned up on the 1st of October? And you'd have turned me away, wouldn't you? It would have cost me a fortune. And he said the system is not 100% reliable, not great. It does have its flaws. But you should never, ever go to an appointment anyway without the official letter that tells you what to expect on the day, what time you need to turn up, etc., etc. And I said, as far as I was concerned, the discharge letter was enough. And he said, it should never have been on that letter. And I said, oh, so the rehabilitation clinic then shouldn't have actually been on there, which, by the way, I went to. And they saw me with open arms. And he went, he does understand, and it doesn't matter, about the whole thing. It is now the 5th of November. So I said, look, I told you I wasn't going to have a go at you. We could be arguing here, left, right, and centre. All I'm saying to you, I've got 3 pieces of evidence that says it's the 1st of October. I'm getting a phone call from you with no letter that says it's the 5th of November. And as far as I'm concerned, this is disgusting how I'm being treated. And if you think about it, I said, I went into this angiogram in May, and it was booked for the 26th of September. Because of a heart attack, waiting for this angioplasty, I had to have it there and then in September. It was then moved to the 1st of October. So that's the second move. And then you've moved it to the 5th of November. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm just being ping-ponged around and you're playing around with my life. And I'm not happy about that. And I left it there. So now I know, 5th of November. My sick note ends 1st of October. I immediately did a blood pressure check like I did yesterday after I had the stressful day with going to the tablets. It was sky high Monday, it was sky high Tuesday. It's a contradiction to what the tablets were doing and what my blood pressure readings were on the first week of September after being in the hospital. They were hypertensive 1 and 2, which is a lot lower. Still not great, but then again, remember, I'm still needing a procedure and the tablets need to be adjusted. And they were more hypertension free and 2. And that was just talking about the operation. So then I started to think about the interview. Now it's the 5th of November, not the 1st of October. The actual interview would be 3 weeks into this month that we're coming into, and I would still have a blocked heart on the left and hypertension at the moment of hypertension free. I had no choice really other than to call the doctor and ask to speak and get some advice. Booked the appointment on Wednesday. They said could be any time. Can't give you a day, can't give you a time. So I had the phone close to me Wednesday, nothing happened. Had the phone close to me Thursday, nothing happened. Friday I had to make a phone call. She booked me in for Monday, 3:45. I went, look, I've got to even speak to a manager before then. The sick note runs out. And I need to speak about my tablets, my leg, and a very important thing about his recommendation on stress for interviews. So she did the only thing she could. She extended my sick note for 4 weeks. You know, obviously giving me the same spiel that if I feel like I want to go back into work, I can, and all of that sort of stuff. I asked her the question about interviews, and I said, look, even I know that moving house and having a wedding is the two most top stressful things that you can do. I'm pretty sure interviews is in the top 5. What is her opinion on going in for an interview with the condition that I've got and the hypertension readings that I've given the doctor? She couldn't really give an okayance, but she did turn around and said, if it was me, I wouldn't do it. Your health is more important. And I had to have a big think after the phone call for an hour and basically bow to the fact that, yeah, my health is more important. So in my head, I turned around and thought to myself, there's going to be another opportunity. I was probably just doing it by the numbers anyway, because there is another person that I told you has got all the training, has got the ear of the manager. As far as I'm concerned, I probably wouldn't get it anyway. Although that's a very negative thing to say, but it's also a realistic thing to say when you consider that 2 years ago I went back and said my training must be priority because I want to be in a level position with all the other analysts so that if a manager's job comes up, I'm at the same position as them, otherwise it's unfair. And here we are 2 years down the line and I'm not trained up. So everything that I actually said 2 years ago came true. And you have to look at it and go, I'm probably pretty true about the interview. So I made myself chipper by basically saying there's going to be other opportunities. And remember, there are 2 other contractors that are called managers. And their contracts are going to be ending soon. And that means that after my operation, I probably will be in a better position. And of course, there'll be less analysts to go for it, and I could be trained up. So I made the phone call and I explained what the situation. He agreed, yeah, it's up to me whether I want to, but even he saw I'm in a bad situation, bad timing, and health is very important. But I've moved to Friday. I need to go back to Wednesday. It's a bad situation that got me. Those are all the sort of like bad things that have happened this week. Other than, I'll mention it very minorly, trolling continues. It happened on sort of Wednesday in the chat that I'm just about to talk about. And of course, somebody has gone down and disliked the last 100 videos that I've done in one day. But I digress. That's a minor thing. Didn't faze me. I knew it was probably going to happen. Wednesday came along and it's my favourite Wednesday night, and I'm speaking with my friend Ian Hill. And we had a great time. Loads of chatters in there. We talked about everything. Music, TV, film. I made him laugh. He made me laugh. Nice 4 hours. And to be quite honest, there isn't really much else to say because on Saturday I prepared the blog and today is Sunday. So, you know, what can you say about a week like that? An absolute disastrous start to the week that ended on a low. And I speak to the doctor on Monday, and my operation is now the 5th of November. I need to get myself well. I need to do more walking. I need to get my tablets in order. I need to eat better. All of that I can do in the time leading up to the 5th of November. And that's what I'm going to do. I will continue the things that are fun. YouTube, asking my friends to suggest games, doing film reviews, doing my blogs, anything that I can think of that cheers me up, looking at my statues, organising my comics and books, watching films. But I must concentrate in the day to do more walking, pushing myself, looking after my mum is a priority, all of that. The more conversations I hope I have with my friends, Mamemeister, Denny, Steve, Rob, all of those, I'm sure they'll cheer me up, even if it's by text. And that's what I aim to do. So I mentioned Ian Hill, the Ramblings there. Please go and subscribe to him if you can, or like to him. I'm on there on a Wednesday if you want to see me, but it's a great time just listening to people ask us questions. But young people asking us questions to these two old farts that are actually in there. Now, get over the fact that he looks like Captain Birdseye or Santa, because he's a nice guy. And I do make him smile with that. Because he is up north, and I do tell him, that his internet connection could be better, but you've only just got gas up there, haven't you, near Leeds? And it's all of that sort of stuff, and he'll call me a southern softie and all of that. So it's a good time. I have fun. He has fun. We look after each other, We had a person come in purely, I think, to antagonise. But I tell you what, I treated him with total respect, or her, and, said, ask your questions, but please don't cause trouble. It's not fair to Ian. And there was no more trouble. So, like I say, things like that occur, and you just have to sort of put it to one side, be the bigger person. The only other things that have happened this week, I have managed to play some games. I've been playing something called Pixel Dungeon, which is a cross between Vampire Survivors and Gauntlet, and I've enjoyed that. I bought a game called UFO. It's got 50 games in it. I took a punt on that because it's probably the most expensive game I've bought in the last 2 months. No, last month, because I bought that Astrobot game for the PS5. And they're mostly like NES games, but it's a really good story. It's supposed to be a game company's 50 games, starting with their very first game to their very last game, and it's the same coders and their progress as they got better with programming from the first game all the way to the 50th game. And there's all sorts of different games. There's scrolling shoot-'em-ups, there are role-playing games, there are strategy games, there are puzzle games, mostly NES type graphics though. I've played it a little bit. I've started at the beginning and I'm going along, but you can play it in any order you want. And out of the first 5-6 games, there's only been sort of one I really enjoyed, but I believe as you go along, there's much better ones. There's some of those Pathfindery tower defense type ones, and that I'll enjoy regardless. So I know for a fact that there's going to be some good ones there. So that's UFO, and that's on Steam at the moment. And like I say, Pixel Dungeon has been the one I've probably played the most, although not that much. About an hour and a half, 2 hours I've played so far in a week. That's like picking it up, playing 20 minutes, shutting it down, that sort of thing. But it's kept me occupied and chipper, you know. But the best thing has always been asking Steve's gaming and Rob's gaming and Mamemeister and Denny and Martroid and all of those people to offer some games to me. And we've got to the end of round 2. And I did put a little bit of a disclaimer. I turned round and I said, there might be a round 3, don't know. Steve thinks I ought to go ahead. If you do watch this blog at the end of Sunday and you've been participating and you feel I should, please just leave a small comment. Yeah, please, to keep going. It's great. They're not getting that many likes. They're not getting that many watches. That's regardless. It's fun to do. So, you know, be nice to get some feedback. Don't get much feedback about what people would like me to see or even what they'd like to see in the blog. It's difficult with the blog, though. The blog is sort of like stuck in its format until year 4. Then it changes. And I've taken into consideration Seb's suggestion of putting time stamps against things. I might also put it into a podcast. So there's a number of things that the blog will change. But gameplay-wise, film-wise, you've seen the format, you've watched them. If you haven't, please do. You can always leave a suggestion, say, oh, I'd like to see this in it. I'll listen to it. Might not necessarily take it on board, but it'll be nice to know what your thoughts are. That's enough of this week and me. Let's get to the good stuff, shall we? Let's move on. It's been just put it down like this. Got a smile on my face. It's been a shit week. Roll on next week. So, shout outs. You know, I love the shout outs. These are people that have taken their time to leave comments or possibly ask a question. And it can be just, I hope you are well, hope your mum is well. They all cheer me up. If I didn't get those, I wouldn't think people cared. Do you see what I mean? Which is why I do an open blog. I could close this blog down and do it for the original purpose, which is a blog for like a diary for my nephew and niece to tell them what's going on this week and what was important to me, what I bought this week, all of that sort of stuff. But no, I love doing this, making it open-ended, talking about life, what's going on in the world, what's going on in my life. It's great. It does open up, I suppose, me to, you know, hurt if people want to use a weakness to get at me, because I do put my heart on my shoulder. But no, 130 odd blogs strong, roll on the next 130 odd. You know what I mean? It's like that. So shout outs, we'll read them out. They're not in any particular order. They are Wee Bob Art, Martroid, Denny, Steve's Gaming, Colin Jones aka Ponder, Muckman-Movies, Retro Arcade Reviews, Ian Hill The Ramblings, Frank Holder, Robert's Retro Gaming. Those are the ones that left in the blog, but then remember there's been some stuff that I've done. I've done a film capsule review. I've done 4 game, what my friends suggest as games for me to play. Sadistic Bastards, and a lot of them. So those people that left messages there are 20th Century Gaming, Mamemeister, Carl Todd, Down the Rabbit Hole, Mark whatever. I hope I got all the names. Going into each one and writing down the names and checking that they're not in the blog, it's a bit difficult. Because some of the people that commented in the blog did comment in those game videos. So, you know, you sort of have to eliminate them and put the new ones down. So, not the fastest thing in the world to do. And, of course, I do all of this Saturday and Sunday morning. Every single one of those, I'm eternal grateful. You're all my friends. You cheer me up. And I don't think I'd be the person that I am today without you guys. And I mean that really from the bottom of my heart. even though it's broken at the moment a little bit. So we better move into the comments that I've just mentioned that all these people left, haven't I? The first one, and these are in no particular order, is Robert's Retro Gaming. And it says, "Hey, Del, nice ramblings and reflections as always. For some reason, I have the weird impulse to call you Delma recently. I don't know why. Nor do I. I've never heard that expression, but Del is in there, so I'm happy." I'll probably look it up after this. I'll probably go, "You bastard, you knew exactly what you were talking about," because it could be derogatory. But I tell you what, it could be equally as nice, couldn't it? Don't know. If I'm listening on the go, which seems to be the norm for me lately, I'm hopeless at remembering what you've talked about that made me think of something to add, or other things that I would comment on if we were in a conversation. Wait, he's put, "Queen of all the others, brah ha ha, why you, ooh, why I ought to, well, I'm glad I run out of ink." I think that was at the end of last week when I was doing the what I've watched this week, because he's royalty. No question from me this week, I'm afraid. My best to you and your mum, and I'll pass that on. Thank you so much. Absolutely brilliant of you, Robert. I've been watching your channel. That was a great game you suggested. A lot of people, actually, some of the more people watched that, I think, than some of the others. I don't think it got the highest amount of watches, but it is a fave game of many, and I hadn't played it before. And you were very kind with your comments and said that I'd sort of like deduced a lot of the mechanics of that game out. I speculated that you needed to put some diversive shots down, and you need to watch the video to understand what I'm talking about. Some diversive shots down as a decoy so I could get the things that I needed that were buried in the ground. But I didn't follow that up, did I? I just shot all the way down to the things that I needed, and that bloody plane was dropping boulders all over the place. Next time I play it, that's definitely what I'd do. I'd be laying down shot after shot after shot, and then it wouldn't know which one I was going for. Yeah, makes perfect sense, doesn't it, really? So, fantastic game. I loved playing it. One of the highlights of the week is these people suggesting games to play. So thank you very much, and my salute to you. Thank you, Robert. And oh God, I'm going to need a drink. I think we all know what that means. If I need a drink, we're getting towards Mr. Novel himself. So my old mate Denny is next. Bastard writes friggin' pages. Right. It starts off, "Hiya, mate. Back to being busier than a rented donkey. You've not had the best of weeks after our chat Friday yet," because he phoned me up on Friday and cheered me up. "Hoping your fortunes pick up sooner rather than later." And then he continues, "So Anthony Joshua lost again. I think it's time to retire. Not an outstanding boxer in his career, to be fair. Yes, I deliberated this. Obviously, it's up to him. I think he's turned round and said that he's going to continue. You know the story of Muhammad Ali and the amount of punishment that he took. It's his dream. It's his dream. And if you've got a dream, it's hard to let go. And when you let go, what do? You take a 9-to-5 job in the city. He's not that much of a star to be a pundit. But there you go. A footnote in history. And it just shows really that he's lost 4 times really in his 30-odd fights. Okay, moving on. Maggie Smith has passed away, aged 89. Again, yet another actor of our era gone. Yes, I said so much earlier on. Denny, very, very sad. "Your next angioplasty, you said it's the 1st of October, now it's November. Sooner that's here and gone, you can start getting on with your life. Don't I know it? That's the thing that, if I dwell on, gets me down. I've got to look at the positives and say, what can I do in that month? What can I, and tidying this room, all little things that I could be doing. Doing stuff on YouTube, stuff that makes you happy, keeping yourself busy. Don't fall into the trap of getting up late, going to bed late, all that sort of shit. Try and do a normal thing and rest that heart, but also exercise and eat well. That's on my mind. That's what I'm aiming for. Not nice to talk about, as you mentioned, constipation. Yes. If you haven't guessed already, the tablets have a side effect. 4 of the tablets out of the... How many do I take now? 3, 4, 5... Over the course of the day, I take 21 tablets. Yes, 21 tablets. 22 tablets. Yeah, 22 tablets. 4 of those type of tablets have a side effect of one diarrhea, the other one constipation. I had both. Right? Straining, and then the next time, sluice gate. It's not a nice subject to talk about, but that was what was happening for a good week. When I went down to get my tablets that were missing, the pharmacist he looked at my meds and gave me something that would not counteract those meds, and it was a syrup. It isn't the medication that begins with D that most people would get as sachet that you mix with water and all of this. This is prescribed stuff that he gave me, which he was able to sell me without going to the doctor, because the pharmacists have got far more powers these days. And after taking it for about 3 days or so, it's been a lot better. So that's great. So glad we don't have to talk about that, because it's a dare I say it, a shitty subject to talk about. Oh God. The jokes don't get better, do they? For God's sake. So glad you liked Starpost. Glad I chose it, as it was a game, as it was totally different to what was out there. Graphically brilliant. It was the game Sonics that took first place. Hopefully you do a 3rd round of games. Great seeing everyone else's choices and gems I've missed. Yes, he chose a Vic-20 game called Starpost, which I'd seen about a week or so earlier on another YouTube video. I'd never played it. Denny must have seen the same video or knew about it and just wanted to tell me about this game. I instantly took a shine to it, although I was going to do a special on it. And I thought, no, what better way than to show off the fact that my friend Denny chose a gem of a game for the Vic-20. And it got a heck of a lot of good comments from it, going, wow, the Vic-20 could do that? That sort of thing. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. He continues, costs of gifts and postage is nothing compared to friendships which last a lifetime. And we're a lifetime friendship. The biggest gift is our friendship. Thank you so much. That's sort of what it sort of like echoes what I've done in the past to people, sending out films and stuff to particular people, because if friendships are for a lifetime, it doesn't matter about the cost. It's only something that you reflect upon when things go sour. But yeah, totally. Just to let you know, Denny sent me a big box of DVDs, and one of them was a Blu-ray which he actually bought out of his own money, an upgrade to a film that I've done a film capsule review last Friday. Go look. It's actually, I think, in the trailers as well if you wait until the end. So yeah, what a nice thing. And I tell you what, this box was heavy. It must have cost a fair bit to post to me. And what a nice thing to do. I'm so behind with writing texts, phoning people up, sending things out in the post to people because of the heart problem, that I'm going to get straight over the next 4 weeks. Anybody I've missed, I apologise. My brain's been all over the shop, as you can possibly imagine. But, you know, past friends, new friends, you're all in my thoughts. You know, I wish I could communicate more with certain people. That'll all change, I'm sure, in the future. And I'll look back and laugh at all of this. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking forward to. You move forward, you laugh at the past, you gain experience from it. We will do more live streams. As you know, work always dictates, but we enjoy them. We will keep doing them. I'm like you for dislikes, totally pointless with no textual reasoning behind it. If a video isn't for me, I move on. Why bring someone's day down? And I think that's the point. A troll will do it because it brings your day down. My point of view, I'm chipper, happy. It doesn't stop me from doing them. So it's the audience that I'm targeting that I do it for. And of course for my own amusement. So I'm starting to get that. And it's starting to become less of a thing. So that's absolutely fantastic. It's nice. You point it out because it's a reminder to me. Do you know what I mean? And I'll take that away and use that as an advantage on how better a person we all are, my friends and me, myself, than people that want to bring your day down. You know what I mean? Restorations I'd like to see in the future. This is film restorations or TV. Survivors, Sapphire and Steel and Moondial. The Box of Delights has had the restoration treatment and it's coming out in time for Christmas. Yeah, and some classics in there. But I think you mentioned that Sapphire and Steel was very near the end, and when Network went away, I think you said you went to a forum and they said that the restoration didn't go particularly well. I'm not sure if I dreamt that, because I probably did. But Sapphire and Steel was up there for me. Oh my God. I mean, I treasure my DVD edition. But I loved Sapphire and Steel. Scared the shit out of me, really. Or gave me the chills when I watched it as a young teenager in the 80s. Survivors, equally. Oh, what a great show. Moondial. Yeah, that's a distant memory for me. Moondial, but I remember it. Box of Delights. Who can you not? I mean, Box of Delights has been on BritBox. Patrick Troughton. Yeah. I'll be buying that, I should think. I'm hoping it'll be a good transfer, just like we're hoping that Blake 7 will be. Started to watch season 4 of Slow Horses again. Another plug for the incredible vehicle starring Gary Oldman. And with my month off, we talked about it on Friday. I'm going to start watching that show. Season 4. Christ, I'm behind. Wonder if I'll get to season 4 by the 4th week of October. We'll see. Watch this space. Question for this week. What films and TV series has, in your opinion, the best special optical effects that put them head and shoulders above the rest? You bastard. Catch you soon, my friend. Fucking hell. After that question, that friendship's out the bloody window for a start. No, I'm kidding, of course. Oh. Let me think. I mean, there's obvious ones that come to mind. Jurassic Park blew me out of the sky when that came out. In 1977, Star Wars. I couldn't believe what I was watching in 1977, 78. Blade Runner, even now, impresses me every time I watch that intro and all of the effects through that film. Terminator 2. I mean, those effects were fantastic for the time. Do you know what I mean? You went in there and you went, wow, I've never seen anything like it. Although The Abyss did sort of like water effects the year, about a year or so before. Interstellar is one of my favourite 4Ks. And it blows my mind when I see the visuals. Just like 2001 does even now. And I still believe those model effects are just couldn't be beaten as model effects for years and years and years. And then, of course, there's Avatar. And as much as we don't really like, some people will hate the film Avatar, I don't think anybody could turn around and say the special effects are shit. It's basically a graphic tour de force. And the 3D blew us away at the time because 3D was so new for us. Many of us went out and bought 3D TVs when that film was coming out. But those are all modern. I mean, I loved the special effects in The Time Machine, War of the Worlds, King Kong, When Worlds Collide. So many. That as a kid growing up, I mean, the work of Ray Harryhausen, I mean, Clash of the Titans, Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, all of those George Pal films that Ray Harryhausen worked on. Thinking of Clash of the Titans, last night we mentioned that was a Maggie Smith film. Bloody hell. So many old ones, so many new ones. And each of them have moved our enjoyment of film forward. I miss model effects. I think we rely too much on computer graphic effects. But they have brought the cost of films down. It does if they get their money back and a shitload more on top of that. It can aid other graphic designers to push the envelope more. And we can have those films that we could only dream of. So I do look at the chipper side of that as much as the downside of bad CGI, poor optical effects. Hey, look, I lived in an era of Doctor Who. Worst possible effects you could possibly get. Didn't bother me one bit. Like games and bad graphics. They're not bad graphics. They were graphics of the time. What the programmer envisaged, or what the graphic artist envisaged. I mean, we're talking, when it comes to games, a singular person writing it sometimes, or teams of 5, not 125, or more, spending millions and millions and millions and streaming off FMV and particular engine model work. So, that ranting about graphics, though, for games, I could be here forever. I will say, salute, Denny. I've gone off on a tangent, you bastard. That means I've extended this talk for a bit more. Let's see if I can speed things up a little bit. Fat chance. The next one's Ian Hill, The Ramblings. my friend Ian. By the way, if you haven't guessed already, all of these people mostly have got a channel. Please go and look for them. If you like them, subscribe to them. Just watch the odd one. Give them a like. If you like it. It really does make our day as creators, I suppose. It makes our day when we get those sort of reactions. So Ian here, what's he got to say? He's my mate that I do a live chat with on Wednesday, one of my best friends. Always makes me laugh. I try to make him laugh. We have a fun time. Hi, Del Boy. Sorry to hear all about your continued problems and the way you are being let down by the NHS. Really hope you get the procedure done soon and sorted out. Yeah, because I had a chat on Wednesday, he knew all about it because we had a little chat before our live stream. Will make such a big difference to your physical and mental health. Thank you so much for coming on the Wednesday live. Really enjoyed it, and you made me laugh a lot too. I never thought we'd be talking about soup. Well, yeah. I told you we talk about anything. We talked about soup for 20 minutes. It sounds boring, but it was fun. In terms of my health, I've not had as much pain. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. It's still there, but legs and feet are continuing to heal. Absolutely fantastic, matey. There's nothing more I'd love to hear than to hear that you're on the mend. You're in less pain. I know it will probably never go away, but I wish all the best for you. I had a box of films gifted to me by Tony. He's been very generous. I was very touched by this, was very happy, looking forward to watching these films. I've already made a start, and you'll hear more about that a little bit later on in my second or third section after this. Always absolutely wonderful when people get gifts. I don't get that many. I don't ask for them. People don't know my address. But when people like Denny and Wee Bob Art send you something, my God, the smile on your face can last weeks. I'm so looking forward to getting a frame for Wee Bob Art. It's going to be displayed on that wall behind me. You're going to see it. It's going to be marvellous. So looking forward to that. I wish I could get things done quicker. I wish I had more money. But that'll happen, and it'll happen, very soon. Just need to get some of these little problems out the way, Wee Bob Art, but it's happening. Anyway, I move on from that. Are there any films you enjoyed from your childhood that you would love to see get a DVD and Blu-ray release? Oh, wow. I mean, it's an incredible question, but I'm probably going to get everything wrong because I'm probably going to mention, I'd love to see this on Blu-ray, and then somebody's going to come back and say, it's already on Blu-ray, you nonce. And I'm going to look stupid, but let me see. You mentioned a film that you said you saw the other day, bought it, and I've got a funny feeling that the sequel's hard to get. So you mentioned Cocoon, and I saw Cocoon, loved it. Ron Howard film, hardly anybody talks about it. But Cocoon 2, I think we both said that we only think that there's a DVD of that. So there's one. Here's a film that I know has got no Blu-ray, and I've only got on DVD, and it's a film that hardly anybody talks about or knows about. And it's a comedy film, and it's called The Three Fugitives, and it's got Martin Short in it. It's brilliant. It's a lovely comedy. One of those ones that isn't the big comedies like Beverly Hills Cop and, Three Amigos and Roxanne and all of those films, Fletch, all of those big films. The Three Fugitives, I loved. I thought it was it's a film with some pathos in it, but it's just a nice take. I can imagine it happening, if you see what I mean. I don't want to ruin it for you. Have a little look. But that's one. I'm going to stay on steady ground here, and I think I'm right in saying this, but there's a lot of Roger Corman films that aren't on Blu-ray. And I think there's one that's got William Shatner in, and you know how much of a William Shatner fan I am. And I think it's called Intruder. Because I think Kingdom Under Spiders is now out, and a lot of the Corman films are starting to come out. So I think I'm on steady ground with that. And then the rest, I think, are films that have been on Blu-ray but are out of print. I think one of those is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. because I think I looked for that about 3 months ago, and it said 100 and something odd pounds or something on eBay, and on Amazon it said out of stock. And then there's those individual sellers that are selling it at 70, 80 odd quid. And you'll remember last week I mentioned the film Black Hole. That was a Disney Club only Blu-ray release. I've got the DVD, but I'm talking Blu-ray here, because I'm not quite sure what films haven't had a DVD release. I mean, Christ, I'm having to sort of like walk a line here and go, I'm pretty sure I know certain films that have been on DVD but haven't got a Blu-ray release yet. So another one is Pacific Heights. I mean, I bought that on Blu-ray by going to Germany to get it. It's not in this country. It's not in America, as far as I know. It needs a 4K. I think there's one actually that Nige mentioned. I think it's called Crossroads. Yeah, starring the bloke from the Karate Kid. This is going back into distant conversations now, but I'm pretty sure Crossroads, you can get it as a Spanish or an Italian or a German Blu-ray. British, no chance, I think. That's a difficult question. I thank you for it, Ian, but bloody hell, I haven't got Amazon's catalogue in my head. Do you know what I mean? Thank you so much for the question. Absolutely brilliant. And speaking of the devil, the next person that's commenting that's in the list is Wee Bob Art that I was talking about just now. What's Wee Bob Art got to say? He says, great to listen along as always. Done a bit of drawing while in the car heading to an appointment. All the best for your hospital visit. You now know that that's a bit later now, Wee Bob. Thanks very much, though. Thank you again for answering my question, and I did laugh out loud when you mentioned how good it would be to have Mousetrap or other board games which would prevent moody people hitting the pieces over. Yeah, we were talking about games in VR. Anyway, question for next time. Bit of a weird one, but who is your favourite character who has distinguishable hair or hairstyle? Bloody hell. Do you mean comics? If you mean comics, then there's an Inhuman on the Marvel side called Medusa. She's got living hair. Because she's got living hair, they called her Medusa, just like in Clash of the Titans, the Medusa, which has got a snake body, a woman's torso, and snake hair. So I could even mention the Medusa in mythology, couldn't I, as a character? Marilyn Monroe struck me out as having iconic hair, as did Dusty Springfield. Dusty Springfield had a hive, didn't she? A beehive. And Marilyn Monroe had those curls, like curls with straight hair. I think that was quite iconic. Oh, of course, you got James Dean and Elvis. I mean, if we're talking about real people, the amount of people that mimicked James Dean, all those teddy boys, I think they all went with that, as did Elvis. The Elvis haircut, Can't think of anybody else. I think we've all gone with side patterns and back and messy and all of that sort of stuff. Iconic bold people are Kojak and Bruce Willis and all of that sort of stuff. Alan Mamemeister for boldness. He won't mind me saying that. I hope that's a good enough answer for you, wee Bob. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for the question. Just going to splash my face now with just some water. Been talking for just over an hour. I've done quite well, I think. Hope hoping I still remain chipper and everything. This will just be several minutes, but to you, no time at all. And we're back, and thank you very much for that little pause. Not that it meant much to you, because basically it was seconds. But just to mention about Wee Bob Art, I'll mention it a little bit later on, but he's posed a question. The 4 best intros in a game. And I'm one of these people that have to react instantly, and I've got to have my brain working on that second. So I did a text answer. But if you think that's an interesting question, please go and see Wee Bob Art's channel. He does drawings, absolutely fantastic. I'll mention it a little bit later on. But I mentioned my 4 intros. And if I was to be thought about it again, I'd have done different answers. Some of my friends have done video answers. I really ought to do more of those, but I tend to find I have a difficulty in thinking, where do I place those in my playlists? But I think I'll do a little more of that sort of thing, because they do seem to be fun, and I'm missing out on the fun, if you see what I mean. But I hope Wee Bob Art likes the answer. It's a good community question. But we get to Steve's Gaming. My mate Steve, I have to do my salute to Steve. Steve, I think you're a fantastic friend, you bastard. Fucking hate you, really, you git. He knows full well he's one of my best buddies. Love his videos. I'll talk about him a little bit later on. But he's left a little comment, and he's put, "Hi, mate. Great blog as always. They are the highlight of my Sundays. I'm really sorry to hear about the trolls, morons annoying you and the disliking your stuff. Just bear in mind that the vast majority of people really enjoy it, and try not to let 1 or 2 petty and infantile people upset you." Yeah, I'm going to mention it less and less, matey. The thing about a blog is that you have to tell people about what's going on in your mind and what your emotions are like. And they've been on that subject for quite some time. But as time goes on, they become less and less, and the less said about them, really. Don't give them the joy of knowing it, you know, whether it affects you or not. As time goes on, they mean little to me. You carry on. I wish you all the very, very best on the 1st, and I will be thinking about you on the day. Unfortunately now, matey, it's now the 5th of the following month. It is a hard thing for me to swallow, but I know that you'll be behind me over the next month to carry me through. Now on to my stupid questions. They're not stupid. They're brilliant. I love all the questions. Yours are a highlight. Question 1. What was the last game you downloaded on your PS5 and the last game you deleted from your PS5? Do you know what? That's a hard question, because I have downloaded some of the freebies that you get as being a PS Plus member. I think, and I can't remember what the game was, you fired bubbles. It was something that Down the Rabbit Hole demonstrated, and I downloaded it the day before he did his video. I hadn't played it, I just downloaded it. I watched his video of it, and he didn't give it a rave review at all. And I played it once to see whether I'd get the same feeling, and I did. What a waste of bleeding time that was. Can't remember the game's name, but it came on, deleted. Oh, didn't like it one bit. So that was deleted and downloaded in one, yeah. So question 2, do you remember The Dentist in the Chair and The Dentist on the Job films? They are 2 films from 1960-61, comedy films starring Bob Monkhouse. By the way, I think Bob was a comedy genius and should be remembered more fondly. Take care, mate. I hope your mum's feeling better. I'll talk about my mum a little bit later, because I haven't mentioned her much. Do I remember those 2 films? Oh, absolutely. Saw them. Black and white films, if I remember rightly. bank holidays and in my teens, if I remember rightly. Bob Monkhouse was a stay point of mine in the 80s. He did Bob's Full House and Celebrity Squares and Family Fortunes. And those were things that my nan watched. And I looked after my nan for many, many years. She had tinnitus ringing in the ears. Took her to bingo. I've mentioned it a number of times in blogs early on. So Bob was always there. And I remember seeing him in those films. I never really understood why he didn't do more films. I never really looked it up. But I've seen many documentaries of Bob. He was in the news towards the end of his life where somebody stole his comedy books. And I think he was one of the first people in the UK to have a video recorder. And he recorded stuff on TV because he got inspiration for his jokes by watching other comedians. And he was always on stage, or recording something for the BBC or ITV. So he didn't want to miss out and recorded those and put them in books. When those books were stolen, it was like stealing a child of his. I remember that. And I remember him towards the end of his life, sort of like going on stage with one of his best friends, talking about the old days. Because he was on stage, he was very much a bit bluer than he was on telly, and he was quite risque as a comedian. But I used to love it. He used to have all those catchphrases like Bruce Forsyth did. He says, "If opportunity comes your way, don't knock it." He used to do this a lot. Always used to make me laugh. Yeah, fond memories of Bob Monkhouse. And I do remember the Dentist films. I remember as well, gotta think for a minute what his name was. Yeah, the music was done by Ken Jones. And Ken Jones was important to me because I used to like TV themes. And he did the music to Only When I Laugh and Sykes. And I think he did a number of films, but the only films that come to mind, and the only one that I've got it on CD actually. I haven't got it on vinyl, was Battle Beneath the Earth, a 1967 British sort of B science fiction movie. And it was one that I quite liked the score to, so I bought it. I haven't played it for a long time, you know. Yeah. But the music to Sykes, the trumpets, da, 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 da. Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you. Happy memories. Thanks for bringing back those memories. Brilliant. And so we'll move on, and we move to Frank Holder, who basically chats with Ian and myself on Wednesday. He's had a mare of a time trying to get a blog question to me. I'm not sure why. I refreshed my settings and he managed to get one to me for this week. So hope everything goes all right for next week as well. He put, testing to see if my comment is blocked. I like your videos, sir, and you are very knowledgeable about films, video series, history, which is impressive. Did you ever work in the field, maybe as a researcher? Oh, you, bless you. I wish. Everything I've got is memories. Everything. Film has been so big in my life that my hometown actually had a director do a zombie film. And I was in it as an extra. Not that I'm in it for very long. It was called Apocalypse. And most of the film is like me, I'm cut out. But I think the way I was killed, I think I was smashed over the head with a flower pot or something. But the friends and the extras that were with me, they had all sorts of stuff happen to them. They had a snooker cue go through their eye, gunshots, all that sort of stuff. But I remember being on that day on the floor, leaning against the wall while the zombies came through. And it was a half-day shoot for that. And it was brilliant. You spent an hour in makeup putting on the prosthetics, you know, the rubber silicone stuff that they put on your face, and then they blend in with makeup. I've got no end of pictures of me dressed up as a zombie. And some of the makeup work was brilliant. Anyway, you continue. I would like to ask a question about video game and movies. When do you think the general public stopped thinking video games were simple beep, beep, beep sounding things? Oh, that's an interesting question. Most of the stuff that I like are those beep, beep things that you're talking about. The early days, the Atari VCS, the Philips 7000 plus, or the I think they called it the Odyssey, Magnavox, ColecoVisions, Intellivisions, Commodore 64s, even Amigas. But I would probably think it was the dawn of the Amiga, the 16-bit, and when Mega Drives and so forth came out, that we thought more of them, and they became a huge $1 million industry. But I suppose it's the dawn of CD and DVD in our machines, where FMV and all of that sort of stuff came in, that made the standard person on the street who wasn't a gamer sit up and go, oh wow, they can do that now? Yeah, I would say probably that is. And you say, and on movies, what is your favourite 1960s film that is on Blu-ray? And you've mentioned I will buy it. No, no pressure then. Bloody hell. So many in the 60s, matey. And a lot of these will be on 4K. But the Blu-rays are equally as good. There's The Good, the Bad and the Ugly and Once Upon a Time in the West. They're all 60s films if you like westerns. Psycho. Now, Nigel and all of the movie community will tell you what a box set the Psycho set was, that came out earlier this year. And they brought out a cheaper edition of that, without it being in the huge big box set that I think you can still get. Psycho's definitely up there. Who could forget Lawrence of Arabia, one of my favourite films. On Blu-ray, I loved it. On 4K, outstanding. Like 2001, but 2001 is a divided film. So I'll just mention Lawrence of Arabia for now. And I've just recently talked with Ian Hill about Midnight Cowboy. Midnight Cowboy, what a great film. And you can get that really cheap, or you can go more expensive, and the one that I would recommend is the more expensive one. It's the Criterion one. If you just want to see a good Blu-ray film, just get the cheaper one. I think it's about £7 of Midnight Cowboy. But if you really want all the extras, a much sharper picture because it's a 4K restoration, the Criterion one every time. All 60s films, there's a lot more. People will be screaming now and going, why didn't you mention this? Why didn't you mention that? I've just mentioned some quintessential, oh my God, I don't think anybody would turn around and say that none of those aren't outstanding films to have in your collection from the 60s. But I tell you what, if you go to Ian Hill, The Ramblings, and you look at his shorts section, he's done just recently in the last 2 weeks, top 5 films of each year, 1960, 61, 62, all the way to 69. I could mention Planet of the Apes. I will do. Planet of the Apes, outstanding. Buy that Blu-ray instantly. That is my top choice. Planet of the Apes. There you are. My number one film, 60s. So, thank you very much, Frank, and salute to you. Look forward to you watching in the future if you do, and I hope that the comments come through. Moving to my mate Colin Jones, aka Ponder. Again, remember, most of these people have got their channels. Please subscribe to them if you can. He says, weather has gone really bad. No shit, Sherlock. I got soaked Monday. Sad to hear that the after effects are bringing you down. Glad to hear you have a date, and I hope that they fix you up properly. 5th of November now, matey, but yeah, so do I. Likes now from both channels on that chat video. Sod the trolls. Thank you so much. The lack of a tripod's conclusion was very annoying. Weren't it just? Bloody hell. A third season we definitely needed. In the Tomorrow People, they didn't need the belts for jaunting, but for accuracy. They could jaunt without the belts, but weren't guaranteed to end up where they intended. Yeah, you're quite right with that. I mentioned jaunting, belts, and the watches. Well, they were a thing, though. In the context of the question, I thought they were a good answer, but you're quite right. They didn't need them. No, you've put Metal Gear started on the MSX. Yes, apologies. It did indeed start on the MSX. Why I forgot that, I don't know. It's just the day it is. Thanks very much for the correction, and I'm sure everybody here is appreciative of you correcting us, bastard. No shit on the number of videos being published. I literally cannot keep up with the time I have spare. I might not even be able to catch up, but we shall see how that goes. This does not mean slow down. I'll watch what I can when I can. This is YouTube videos, by the way. Yeah. How I get through it? Jesus, it's getting harder and harder. Steve, you bastard. Robert, you bastard. Ian, you bastard. You know, I mean, Jesus. I mean, slow down, guys. Jesus Christ, I can't. What, 2 a day? Fuck's sake. Music clip from The Black Hole is titled Durant is Dead. Though I suspect you already know this. Yes, got the soundtrack. John Barry, what a score. A very dark film for Disney for sure, and one of the rare films I think could benefit from a remake with current knowledge of black hole physics. Definitely love to see a black hole remake. Tron is right up there in my favourite movie list. Wendy Carlos, of course, did the soundtrack. Yes, Wendy Carlos, how can I forget? The mother of synthesizers, the one that I tried to mention last week. I've mentioned her many, many times. She did those Beethoven reimaginations in the 60s when the synthesizers were in their infancy and took up rooms. Dials, for pitch and filters and sawtooth waveforms and so forth. My God. And then had to do that for just one instrument, record that instrument, then change all the settings again for the next instrument, record that, multiplex it over the top when tape dubbing was in its infancy. My God, and I say this quite rightly, the woman was a genius. But of course we do know she was transgender and pioneered transgendership in the world, to be quite honest. My question. Alan has recently asked for recommendations for our earbuds. I don't use buds much and just have a cheap set because the bone conductive shocks I have are so good. But what would you recommend yourself for going out? If you're going out, I suppose over the ear ones by Bose, which I recommended to Steve, are top of the range, 200 odd quid. They're absolutely fantastic. Apparently the noise cancellation technology in those are fantastic, brilliant. I do wear earbuds. They're Samsung ones. They're Earbud Pros. I've got the Earbud 2 Pros. There is the Earbud 3 buds now. Most people are saying hold back. They're not that brilliant. And of course, every time Samsung bring out a new phone and a new set of their bud earbuds, the old ones go down in price. In fact, you can buy the earbud ones now for about 40 quid. And they were exceptional at the time. Good noise cancellation, good sound. If you have a Samsung phone and you're playing your music through your phone while you're going for a walk, There is an ear test program that basically goes through the different pitches that you would get if you went for an ear test. And that then calibrates the earbuds for your ears for top end and bottom end. That's a fantastic feature that you don't see in a number of buds. So I've mentioned there a couple of, over the ear, and a couple of, for the buds. Don't buy cheap, but I'm very interested in these bone conductive ones. I haven't got those or tried them myself, so I bow to your knowledge on those. And salute, my friend, and can't wait for your next blog and high score challenges. Thank you very much, sir. Salute. Moving to my friend Martroid, it says, it's always interesting hearing you talk about old TV shows and toys, Del. Did you ever have that $6 million man doll, the one where you had the bionic arm that lifted the car engine and you'd look through the back of Lee's head and use the bionic eye? I loved mine. I just wish I had a Man from Atlantis one too. Didn't Mego do that? I'm not sure. At the time, I had to settle for a skivvy instead. Skivvy? Laugh out loud. I had that bionic man, yes. And I had the table where you could do operations and you could change his arm out. The little circuitry that you could see in his arm. I also had the crystal radio that was which was a NASA pack that went on his back. I didn't buy the space costume that you could change him into. I wasn't that into dolls. I even had the android that was his enemy, that was in the first season of $6 Million Man, that was played by, I think, John Saxon, if I remember rightly. That was brilliant. I never had Oscar Goldman. Didn't buy that. But so many toys. I remember I've put in my Discord recently. By the way, the Discord link is in the description, which I highly recommend that you join. We talk about all this sort of stuff. Is in the description along with Mamemeisters. Mamemeisters is it's a joy to be in Mamemeisters. My God, the amount of people in there talking, the amount of information and tips and tricks that you can get in there, fantastic. Mine's very, very new, very small amount of people, but it's growing, and I spend a lot of my time there when I can. And I talked about the Hulk busting out the rage cage last week. The one where he had a plastic cage around him and you pumped him up and he had these cuffs on, and when the pumping up happened, the clasps would spring open, his arms would spring wide, and he'd bust out of the rage cage. And the only one I didn't have of that was the Thing. There was a Thing version, which looked much better as a cage, because he busted out of rocks. That looked better. So many toys though. Evil Knievel, that had a sort of doll on it. I never really bought Action Man, and that I was never really into Action Man. And in America, that'd be G.I. Joe and that. But fantastic memories. Thank you so much, Martroid, and hope to speak to you again soon. And thank you for your game choice as well. We moved to Muckman-Movies. Muckman-Movies just put a one-liner. I never understood why a lot of people took a big dislike to Rings of Power. We loved it. Still to start season 2, but we'll definitely be watching it at some point. Yeah, I'm catching up with TV stuff. There's a lot. I think Denny's actually answered you. He's put, I'm on the same mind as you. I'm loving it. Series 2 is better. I have the final episode to watch. See, so much stuff I've got to get caught up with. Muckman-Movies, by the way, his steelbook collection and his collection as a whole, brilliant. And he does film reviews, absolutely fantastic ones. Definitely worth a watch, definitely worth a subscribe. And then we've got Retro Arcade Reviews. It's the last one, and it says, hi, great vid. I'm a long-term watcher, but don't comment much. Have you got any more info on that Mr. image? Is it the Mr. Beast? Question mark. Perhaps I should join the Discord. Is it your Discord channel? Just to let you know, matey, and I did answer you in the comments. Yes, I would definitely recommend you join the Discord, first of all. 2, yes, the link is there. 3, not wise to put the link, even if I could, in the comments, because things get shut down. Always look in the description, see if you can find a link. It's there. I hope you have. It's a 1 terabyte image. A lot of us are downloading it. Now, I'm downloading it myself, but I had to buy a 1 terabyte external drive because I didn't have enough space. That arrived yesterday. So I'm downloading it. And then I realized when I've got all the RAR files downloaded, I've got to unRAR it into an image for me to then burn it onto the disk, onto the SD card. So I'm going to need another 1 terabyte, aren't I? Bloody hell. I'll worry about that later. I'm downloading it. It's 800 and something odd RAR files from what I could tell. It's also a torrent and so forth. So I'm downloading that as well, matey. And according to Steve from Steve's Gaming, it's a heck of a thing to have. Definitely worth it. So I'm looking forward to it, matey. I've got fibre optic broadband, so it shouldn't take me too long. But of course, anything just takes time. So, and that's the end of the comments. So I can get rid of that now and move on to watched on YouTube. So we're nearing the end of the blog. Brilliant. Now, as anybody knows, there are 2 YouTube channels that I watch religiously, and they come out on a Saturday. And they are This Week in Retro, which is basically the Retro Man Cave, Neil's channel, where he discusses things during the week of what's been going on in the retro scene. This week was pretty good. Loved it. It's Elite's 40th source code, apparently. So that I don't want to give too much away, but basically Elite is a game that everybody should know about by now. The source code for that has been released for other systems beyond the ones it already released for on its 40th anniversary of other machines. There's a section called Sega History Expert. That's where Sega have advertised for a job to be a historian for all things Sega. And I believe it's in America, so if you did get the job, you'd probably have to move. The job pays like 140 odd thousand, I think they said, or somewhere around there. So it's a high paid job. Seems like they're taking it seriously. And then there was the last section, which was called Extreme Restoration. I think it was to do with a PS2 restoration, where somebody had restored it and gone to the extreme to do so, putting it in new cases, decking it out with the wires, making it so much better for cooling, all of that sort of stuff. Just a very interesting section. And unfortunately, Techmoan didn't do a video this week. Well, you have to sometimes have a break, and he might be doing a bigger video, so I look forward to this next Saturday coming up. Other stuff that I've watched that have come up in the alert box on YouTube, because these are all stuff that every time I refresh my YouTube list, it basically lists all of these new channels for me to watch, but they all tend to be based on what I've been watching anyway, so they're along the same lines. But I'm trying to sort of like delete some of my history and get newer ones coming up. But anyway, the first one was called My Mate Vince. I've seen him before, and I didn't actually enjoy this video. It's an hour and a half long. It was called, this is the channel, what it was called, Epic Battle on Repair of a Philips G7000 Video Pack. Now, I mentioned the G7000 earlier on. It took an hour and a half to do it. It ended up being a simpler job than he did. But he did lots of things that I just wouldn't do. He was pulling cartridges in and out while it was on. He was jumping wires between pins of the CPU with just a basic wire and touching the legs of the pins. All sorts of stuff like that without actually doing a diode or capacitor check first. I get why he did it, but it's just, oh my God, is this a lesson on how not to do things? But it was entertaining, don't get me wrong, and I don't know enough about electronics to do it myself, really. All the stuff that I did in my youth were repairing the cases, really, of the computers that I repaired. But I was doing some soldering because I was doing stuff on breadboards at school, but I didn't do anywhere near continuity checks and diode readings and all of that sort of stuff. 5-volt rails, 12-volt rails, all of that. So my salute to all those people that do that. But if you watch that film, I think you'll come to the same conclusion. Bloody hell, pulling out cartridges and pushing them in while they're on? No. Swapping out chips from one good board to another without checking the capacitors first? No. No. I wouldn't do that anyway. Then there's one of my favourite channels, Movie Collector. He did a Hitcher 4K review and unboxing. Yes, the Hitcher 4K is out. Everybody was getting their release this week. It is a wash on YouTube of people saying, I've got my copy and here's what's inside it. You know, if you've seen one, you've seen them all. But I saw the Movie Collector first. But I also saw another one a little bit later on that I watched. So Movie Collector, definitely worth a watch. He's a projectionist of and film historian, basically. Then there's a site called Finn Dietz, and I was just looking at Spider-Man stuff, and there was one that came up because of the toys that I saw last week that talked about the Toy Biz Marvel Legends line and the importance of the Spider-Man from the late 90s and how it changed totally how we look at action figures for articulation reasons. And Spider-Man was the pioneer. So this guy did the Legend of the Mafex Spider-Man. Now, Mafex is a Chinese company, but their articulation was better than Toy Biz, and the paint job on it was so much better than Toy Biz's, which is very glossy. This had a much more subdued and shading on it, and these Mafex toys now go for hundreds of dollars, and you know, close to £100 if you live in Britain. Because, you know, they've moved forward in the line and the old lines therefore go up in value. Go figure when we're talking about Evel Knievel and $6 Million Man. So that was an interesting video. And then there was another one called Carbon Scoring, who did the story behind the 1967 Marx Marvel figurines. Now, these are static figurines. These are single molded, a bit like those army soldiers that you used to buy that were on plinth stands. Marvel did a line of 6, I believe, of these. The Captain America, Spider-Man, Thor, Hulk. Forgotten what. Oh, and Iron Man. And he showed somebody that had bought them all for quite a few $100s and dipped them in silver paint, and they looked beautiful. He had got 2 sets, believe it or not, this guy, and he did the same with his, but on his second set he painted them as they were supposed to be, you know, in the proper colours. They looked marvellous. I wish I could paint like that. Marvellous stuff. Brilliant. Then there was Serial at Midnight. Sorry, this is a site called Serial at Midnight. They had a proper film historian on explaining the studio's involvement with film restoration. And I put a link to that in my Discord because I thought it was such an important link to give to people that are remotely interested in how we're getting our 4K transfers and the story behind how they have to attain them, do them, the work that goes into them, all the way through to burning them onto discs and getting them to a manufacturing process. Brilliant. That's fantastic. And that was an 1.5-hour documentary, or should I say interview. And comic tropes. Now, comic tropes is what I go to now and again. He does sort of like biographies of artists and writers and why we bought things like we did and what comics are worth money and not and all of that sort of stuff. He did a story on Power Records. Now, I don't know if many people know this, but in the 70s, there was a company called Power Records, and they combined a vinyl record with a comic, and they taught people how to read. So you put the record on and you it read the comic to you off from the record, and you learned to read, and you turn the pages over, and they're now recorded visually and audio on YouTube. So you can look them up. And they did Spider-Man ones and Batman ones and Star Trek ones. And they even did movie ones. They did Star Trek the Motion Picture. Brilliant. Even if you haven't got the book, you can see it on the screen and listen to what the record sounded like. Never the best quality. Done in the 70s. Cheaper vinyl material. But if you've got them in your collection, they're worth a fortune. Brilliant. Now, a couple that I actually also know as sort of like friends as well. There's Euphoria Pictures. Keith at Euphoria Pictures, who I've mentioned many times before, is the quality of his recordings are just very good there. The production values are fantastic. But he did another of his heads ups. Now, the heads ups are ones that I target instantly. They're telling us about when the collections of these 4Ks are out, when you can pre-order them, how much they are, and where best to get them from. He's done about 4 or 5 of these now. Every single one a success. Now, I think they're one of the most watched videos that he does on his channel. But fantastic. You know, what a great guy as well. Then you got my mate Ian Hill, The Ramblings. What can I say about Ian Hill? I do a chat with him on Wednesday. But look at his output here. Look. How you can't subscribe to him, I don't know. You've got the top 5 films from 1962 to 1969. Scarlet Blade, a film review. Doctor Who Time Warrior, a TV episode review. Box of gifts from Tony. That was an opening and telling you everything that was in the box. You lucky bastard. I'm not jealous at all. X-Files Season 2 Episode 15 review. Simon and Garfunkel album review. Definitely worth a listen. Get the pun. And, of course, Live With Me, Del Boy, on Wednesday, that you can re-watch. Fantastic. My God, man, slow down. I have to write all this down. My ink is running out of my pen. My pad is full of bloody writing. Look at that. Look, look, look. Every bloody week I'm writing this down. You don't care, do you? You want me to suffer? Great stuff, man. Keep it up. Absolutely brilliant. Love watching your stuff. Moving on to Playtendoguy, or my mate Pete, who I did a chat with actually on yesterday. Brilliant time I had as well. He did a Stardust Steelbook unboxing. A reaction to going to the cinema and watching a film called Substance. And of course my live chat that I was on. Brilliant. Great guy. Amy, his girlfriend, fantastic. All the people that are on there. Jamie. Forgotten his name because he was I'm a new subscriber to him, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if I can bring it up. IMO Reviews. Yeah, IMO Reviews. That was fantastic. Having a chat with him. He was talking about Akira and all sorts of films that he's watched. Brilliant guy. I've subscribed to him. Just a great time all round. Salute to my friend Pete. Then we've got Mondo Chelloveck Movies. Brilliant guy. My go-to for horror, really. He did 3 vintage horror books. Every single one of them I didn't have. strange because I had a lot of books as a kid. And of course, he did his own Hitcher 4K review and unboxing, equally as good as Movie Collector. Nice that we all got our collections this week. Absolutely brilliant. Definitely worth a sub. Go over to my friend Mondo. You just will be educated. That's the best thing that I can say about that. And such a nice guy as well. It's got one of those voices that's very hypnotic. Do you know what I mean? And then my mate Jim Jam Movies and TV. He did some new additions to his collection, so he did a video on that. And he asked the community to ask him a question, anything that you want, you could actually ask him. Nothing is off the table. TV, movies, what you like to eat, how you pick your nose, all that sort of stuff. I asked a question. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to do a video one. I think the closing for it is tonight. So you do have time to ask him a question. The channel is Jim Jam Movies and TV. I recommend that you have a little look. If you've got a question for him, please ask. And that's what I watched on YouTube. And we're on the last page, which is your YouTube. Now, these are people that I've chatted to on the Discord and people that are in regular communication with me. They all have channels. And basically, I'm very close to them, which is why they're on this page. And the first one is Down the Rabbit Hole. And oh my God, man, bloody hell, you did Star Frontiers, no Alien Romulus, this scene is wrong video. Now, Star Frontiers is a D&D game, so you might find it a bit difficult to follow a little bit on what that video was about. But saying that, it wasn't that difficult. And if you've seen Alien Romulus, the film, you'll catch on straight away what he's talking about. He also did a Nintendo DS Tetris is cool, and is it rare? Question mark. So he showed off Nintendo DS Tetris, which is different to Game Boy Tetris and Game Boy Advance Tetris, and showed the pros and cons of that game. And the last video that I saw of his was 1971 Computer Space dash no regrets. So he was talking about his time where he was umming and ahhing on whether he should buy one of the earliest arcade games that has ever been produced, called Computer Space, which came out in 1971. He didn't say how much it cost, but he talked about his deliberation, his then purchase of it, and how it opened the doors for him to speak to many people that have been in the arcade industry for years and years and years, like Ted Debney and a load of others. Brilliant. That was a highlight for me to watch this week. That was brilliant. So salute, my friend. And the next one is Gaming Royalty, the Queen of Canada, Robert's Retro Gaming. Queen. I'm going to get such a slap. Anyway, look at the output here. Jesus Christ, man, slow down. And what have I said? Minecraft Skyblock episodes 15 to 18. Atari ST Stardust Ghouls and Ghosts gameplay. SNES gameplay of Harley's Humongous Adventure and Darius Twin. Atari 8-bit game review of James Bond. Spectrum gameplay of Hungry Horace. And C64 gameplay of Paradroid. Every single one I watched. Paradroid I left a note on. I could have left a note on Hungry Horace, but I didn't bother. I just liked it and moved on. Just a great guy. He's looking for suggestions on Atari ST games to play. I mentioned to him personally myself about things like Carrier Command, but they're a little bit hard to do as a stream. They're strategy games, 3D ones, looking brilliant, don't get me wrong. Probably a bit too complex, though, to do anything other than a couple of videos on them, you know, to actually advise how it works and all that sort of stuff. And I gave him two others. I can't remember what they are now. I'd have to look in my chat to tell you. I think it was called Vroom, but I'm not sure. Definitely go and look at his channel. If you can, subscribe. But definitely, if you see a video and you like it, please. And then we move on and salute my friend to Steve's Gaming, the bastard. Jesus Christ, man. Go back to slow bloody broadband, will you? And having no friends, you bastard. You'll always have friends, mate. I'm only joking with you. His output, it's going up and up and up. Here we go. Hydroneer, episodes 5 and 6. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's a 7th. You know, I mean, I can't look on a Sunday, you know, when I'm doing this. C64 gameplay of Blue Moon, Spectrum gameplay of a game called Castaway, Saturn gameplay of a game called Dungeon Keeper, Amiga gameplay of Feeling Lucky, episode 3, and various full fiber edition, which is basically he's on full fiber now. So he did an hour long, I'm going to play random shit. Stuff that he doesn't normally do, mostly console. That was entertaining. So lots there for you to watch. That'll take you all Sunday. Definitely go and watch. Salute, my friend. And you definitely are my friend. What a buddy you are. Cheers for being so supportive of me. 20th Century Gaming did live Commodore 64 during the week. I dare say he might do another one tonight. Not sure. But definitely worth looking at him. He does walkthroughs and plays games that you suggest and all that sort of stuff. Brilliant. Colin Jones, a.k.a. Ponder. Salute to you, 20th Century Gaming. Mark, his name is. Colin Jones, a.k.a. Ponder. He did 2 high score challenges. He did Tuber's Challenge, which was Doggian, and Mamemeister Challenge Megadon. Both definitely worth looking at. And why not join the challenge? If you join the Discord, you can probably have a word with Ponder, get your name down, and weekly play a different arcade game and put your high score up. Absolutely fantastic. Why not? Then we've got Wee Bobart, who I've mentioned before has got a drawing channel, but he's asked a community question. What are the 4 game intros that you consider to be the best? And so, like I say, I've talked about it earlier. Definitely a great community question. Go over there and support him. And then lastly, there's Mamemeister, who just did a blog this week, but he's been very, very busy. He talked about SteamYard, and I've got the same expression on SteamYard as he does. I'm subscribed to SteamYard, and I pay $9, which is about 6 or 7 quid. And it gives me some perks like longer times that I can record videos and all that sort of stuff. But they sent me the same email that Mamemeister got 2 weeks ago that basically says that tier of pricing has gone. They've added things like 4K and stuff for recording. And because of that, the lowest tier now is $33. Which equates to about 29 quid. I'm not paying that. It's pretty obvious to me what they're doing. They want to get rid of the smaller YouTube channels, put you onto the free StreamYard account, and they want to concentrate on the people that do 4K recordings and people that have got 10,000 plus subscribers. Because they know they've got Patreons, they've been getting money regularly in, and they want a slice of it. As far as I'm concerned, I hope they fall on their ass. I hope that they totally see what a stupid thing it is that they're doing. They could have added this as another tier without bothering the people below. And I don't need 4K recording. Christ, I'm recording now at 720p or 1080p, just high definition. I don't need 4K. I don't need to do all of that. I've got a very small subscriber base. So instantly, I sent a message to them asking, is the free account still there, etc., etc., a few questions. They answered one of them, which was an automatic reply, for which I then immediately cancelled. And they then had the cheek to send me a survey saying, how did they do with answering my questions, for which I gave them a damning review and said, when I ask 2 questions, I want 2 answers. I don't want one of the questions answered and it to be an automatic email at that. So that's my rant over, and my last little mention of my friend Mamemeister, who's got a brilliant channel, been going for 10 plus years, definitely worth your time going to have a look. So I'm just going to have a sip of drink here, and we will move to what's arrived this week as steelbooks and 4Ks and Blu-rays. So this came through, which is season 3 of Chucky. I believe this series is cancelled now. Probably a good thing. I enjoyed my time with it. Chucky is getting to be a bit... I think he needs a rest. With the films like Maxine and stuff like that out, the Chucky becomes a lesser thing. And we've seen lots of films. He's had 3 seasons on TV. So it's probably good to give him a rest for now. This one came in a Warner Brother box. I need to take it out of it, but I haven't got around to it yet. But this is the box set of Beetlejuice. That's the first one, not Beetlejuice. First one. It's a nice steel book in a nice hard surround. I'll put the back up so you can freeze frame it, and if you can read it, great. I don't know if you'll be able to. But it's the first Beetlejuice, not a fave film of mine, but an enjoyable one and worthy of my attention in my collection. Everybody's been mentioning the First Omen, so I got a First Omen, and it's got a slipcover. Not that I'm bothered about slipcovers, it's steelbooks that I'm interested in. This isn't out on 4K and it has no steelbook. It was a cheap price. Everybody's been talking about it, and of course I've got the other Omen films, so I took a punt and purchased that. Finally it came through, but I've had this on pre-order for a long time, and that is the film Lone Survivor. And this is a custom collection from Astro Creations, I think they're called. It's a brilliant, lovely box set. I'm looking forward to opening that, watching it and putting it in a proper case. Could have a harder case is all I can say about it, but when it comes to a steel book and what you get inside it, as a first thing for Astro Creations to do, brilliant. And they're doing a second, they're doing another film, so I will be looking out for that. Then the film that we've all been talking about all the way through this blog, The Hitcher. This is what it looks like. I'm sure if you look around, you will find everybody's got it and done an unboxing. So you won't be getting an unboxing from me, really. There's no need. Just to know it's deluxe, gorgeous, and everybody is talking the fact that the picture is very, very good as a transfer. It's nearly 2 years in the making from what I've been told. Brilliant. That was the big release that everybody's been... I mean, YouTube is awash with it. So they must have made a small fortune, Arrow, that brought that out. My friend Denny sent me this in a big pile of other stuff. Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze. He put a sticky note on it like that. It said, "Thought I'd treat you to this, being as you don't have it on Blu-ray." Damn right I didn't. I had it on... I think I had it on DVD, but I haven't checked. I've done a capsule review. I've watched it. Brilliant. I hope you like the capsule review. I put a lot of my memories into that one. And thank you very much, Denny. My God, my eternal gratitude to you. One that came late this week is a steelbook, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. A lovely looking steelbook. I do like that. It's not embossed or anything. It's a nice painted art onto a lovely coloured bronze steelbook. There's the back of it. I don't know if there are multiple different versions of this steelbook. Sometimes they do that, 2 or 3 different covers. But that's the one that I got. right on Monday this came through, which was the Steelbook of Stardust. If you want to know what the contents of this is like, go and see Playtendoguy. He did it last week. It's got some gorgeous cards inside it. He'll show you the whole insides. It's a good film, nice entertaining romp. And I just happened to mention in the chat with Ian that the only thing Pete left out really was that it was partly written by Jonathan Ross's wife, who's also written comics. Jonathan Ross has written comics as well. She's done quite a few screenplays. So, you know, that's a good thing to know. This is one that everybody's been talking about, and I got cheap as well. It's the HMV edition of The Sting, which is about spiders. I think it's an alien spider. This is a different cover to the standard release. I wanted something a bit different. It's only on Blu-ray. It's no steelbook, no 4K. Hence I bought it. It's a slipcover. You can see it's the HMV from the inside cover, but it's a slipcover. So happy with that. The standard regular cover looks nice. It's a spider on a woman's face. I just wanted something a bit different because I know when it comes out on steelbook or when it comes out on 4K, I'll be buying it. So it was just really something cheap and cheerful. And the last collector's set, which has got a lovely hard edition and everything, and it's a very oldish film done by Roman Polanski, and that is Rosemary's Baby, a divided film. It's a good film. Most people are divided because of how it ended. I'm looking forward to watching this again. It's under the Paramount Scares series. There's the back of it. Looks very nice. It's a 60s film. It shows its age. But when it comes to films showing its age and so forth, it's about the story. It's about how you're entertained. It's the journey you go on with the characters that are in the film. So they're sort of ageless. That's why I like Laurel and Hardy and so forth. That's it for the blog. Other than the trailers. So I do need, don't I, to go down to my media playback. And I need to shut up for a bit. And you can then listen to some trailers. Hopefully, this is the bad thing about trailers. I have no idea whether my video will get blocked due to copyright reasons. Sometimes the copyright reason can be for an actual music score, let alone a track that's been in the charts. So let's have fingers crossed. If it does take time, I'm sure they'll give me the option to cut it out or whatever. So I'm going to shut up now and you can look at the trailers for this week and see you on the other side.
Heading west on the long, lonely highway, only his dreams for company, until...
My mother told me never to do this.
Before many miles, he'll wish he'd taken his mom's advice. When Jim Halsey let the hitcher into his car, he opened the doors of hell.
What do you want?
I want you to stop me. Once you've met the hitcher, you'll never pick up another.
My wallet's in my pocket.
Shut up! We know how to do it.
Jesus! Why are you doing this to me?
You're a smart kid. I'll figure it out.
I didn't do it. I didn't do any of it. I'm not a killer.
Hold on!
This morning, this guy tried to kill me. He's been following me ever since.
I don't want to die! Yeah!
The terror starts the moment you stop for the hitcher.
What do you want?
I want you to start me.
When slithering horror threatens, when assassins narrow their sights, when terrorists strike, when killers fill the sky, when the green wigglies are coming to get you. When you're all doomed to die a horrible death.
We're all doomed to die a horrible death.
When you're in that kind of trouble, who do you call on?
Dr. Savage! Dr. Savage! Dr. Savage! Dr. Savage!
Have no fear. Doc Savage is here.
Well, now, you handle the documents.
Yes.
Is there anything you can remember about them? Anything that might help me find that land which was given to my father?
It is very strange, senor. The deed was signed by the chief of the Quetzal tribe. But there is no Quetzal tribe. Can you believe this?
Yes. Yes, I think I can. My father got there. Somehow I must get there, too.
But it may take days to get there.
You've brought us this far, Mona, and I thank you.
I love you.
Mona, you're a brick.
Champagne?
No, thank you.
Perhaps something a bit more potent.
I'll have a Coke, please.
He's noble and strong. He's got a brain, a super brain that will not rest. He'll right every wrong. Let us all try and help to soothe the savage breast.
Here it is. The edge of the world. Below, in the valley of the Vanish, live the Quetzalmals. There is no way down.
It's time to proceed. Stay in your seat and hope you'll beat his evil foes.
There's this girl at the orphanage.
Carlita.
You must be very careful, Margaret. It's the girl. Evil things will start to happen.
It's all for you. No, don't. What does any of this have to do with Carlita?
How do you control people who no longer believe? You create something to fear. I believe the girl is to be the mother.
Mother of what?
It's the mark of the devil.
It's not real. 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 Who said that?
The first omen.
When I sleep, I see strange things.
Memories?
Not memories. New things. I see everything.
thing. What a wonderful day!
There's the trailers for this week. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I saw that at the pictures. Thought it was a good film. Not a great one. But definitely worthy of attention. I'm looking forward to the new Omen. I thought that trailer was pretty good. Doc Savage just brings back fuzzy memories and cozy memories for me. A fantastic gift from my friend Denny. And it was great doing a capsule review of that. I had immense fun thinking of memories of that. I think Pamela Hennessy was in that trailer. Yeah, she's from Buck Rogers. And of course, The Hitcher. What can we say about The Hitcher? I mean, if it doesn't make you want to watch that film from that trailer, my God, there is a remake. But that film I remember seeing in the 80s, loving it. And that's it for another week. Wish me well for next week. I'll be here again next week doing this stuff. All this week I'll probably be doing more stuff. I'm not quite sure what. I might do a round 3 of the gaming stuff if enough people want me to do that. And so I will say salute till next week, and thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much if you do like this video. Thank you very much for all the subscribers that keep tuning in. Bye-bye.